Hi, I'm Ashrin. Today I am going to show you how to reduce the Flaky test using a good CI environment. And if this is the first time you see in this channel, I recommend you to click subscribe button and hit the bell there so you won't miss a chance to be a good automation QA. Before we can explain how to reduce the Flaky test, let me explain what is the CI.
To understand about the word CI environment, first we need to understand the word CI. CI stands for continuous integration, which is a software development process starting from planning and do the coding, and after finish code is automatic build and automatic run the test, and if the test pass it's automatic integrate to the master branch, and this process keep continuing. That's why we call continuous integration.
Now, let me explain more about the testing step.
If the test result itself is not super reliable, basically it shows result not consistent before any change in software or automation code, we call this a flaky test. The reason of the flaky test can come from many reasons, and from my experience, the majority of the reasons come from the test environment itself that is not super stable.
And many of us use the shared QA environment as a CI environment, right? I will show you how the shared QA environment causes the Flaky test.
This is a classic example that uses the shared QA environment as a CI environment. For this case, our system under test need to connect to the shared environment, which is owned by another team. Basically, our team have no control over those components. If everything works in our CI environment, we run the test, it will show the test pass for sure. But what if another QA from another team, they just down their service for some reason, maybe they update their version to be tested. In the case, our test will be fail for sure. Or even what if another QA from another team, they just update their patch of their machine. This also show the false positive on our test automation result.
I will show you some cool fact.
Let's do some mathematics. If our system under test require 10 components in CI environment to be worked, and for each component there has 10% failure. Basically, for each time we run the test, it's 10% that the system will be down. So we can calculate the success rate of our test as 1 minus 0.1, which is 10% to the power of 10, which because we have 10 components, which will show result of 34.87%. Or we need to run 3 times to make our automation pass. For sure, anyone working in this environment will shout on us, the tests are flaky.
But why the Flaky test caused the problem?
In real life, if the tests are failed, you need to investigate why the test failed, right? Whether it's a bug or the automation problem or the test environment, and then we find out that if the test environment is the component A that is down, so we need to collaborate with another QA on the component A teams to fix their component. And after we run the test again, and we found that another component is down again, the component B. So we need to collaborate with another team again. Sometimes we need to spend an hours or even half day to fixing this problem. If this happened to you once a week or once a month, it should be okay. But what if it happened every day? Your day will be due.
Investigate the Flaky test could be super suffering, I know that. So let's define together. No, let's decide. How should the good automation test environment could be?
Let's define the best practice of our CI environment for testing. First, it should be independent from another builds. Basically, if there is 2 builds at the same time, it should not be interference for each other. The second practice, it should be independent from its own previous build. Basically, the test result of the previous build should not be impact to the current run. And the third practice is it should not be able to interfere by people. So if another people from another team, they want to deploy the new version for testing, or they want to update patch of their machine, it shouldn't be impact. And in the case of the shared QA environment, the first practice is fail. Because if two teams want to run the test at the same time, they need to update their components, right? And it will interfere each other. And the second practice also fail, because if we have the shared QA environment and the CI environment, the test result of the previous run might be interfere the next build. For example, if they leave some garbage in data, the next build need to handle the garbage, and if it not well handle the garbage, for sure the test will be failed. And the next practice will be failed again for the case of shared CI environment, because if people want to update their patch or want to update their version of the software for some reason, your test will fail for sure. To fix those problems, we can introduce to change our CI environment to become a Docker environment. We can spawn the Docker for build and test, and once we finish those, we can terminate it. This will make your environment private and clean from another build. So for the case, even if another QA from another team want to update their patch, your test result will be protected because it's private and separate from theirs. For the Docker CI environment, it comply all the best practices we just defined together previously. So it's independent from another build, yes, because it's your own private. You spawn it and you destroy it. It's also independent from the previous build, because when you need to run the test, you spawn the Docker, you run the test, you create a garbage, and you destroy everything. When the new test run, everything clean. And the third one, it also cannot be interfered by another people, because in your own private environment, it's only you that can interfere with. I don't think you will interfere your test.
Yahoo! And that is how we reduce the Flaky test using a good CI environment or Docker. So put it in the comment whether you already use this approach or not, and whether this solve your flakiness of your test or not. So if you like this video, don't forget to click subscribe button or click the bell there so you won't miss any chance to be a good automation QA. So until next time, see you.